Hi everybody, this is Debbie from Creekside Art Studio, and today I'm going to be showing you another rock mandala dot painting video. This is the rock I'm using. It's a very small rock that I just found outside at the beach on the island that I live on. Today I'm going to be using what they call dotting tools or manicuring styling tools. You can get these online. I got them on Amazon. You can probably pick them up at some of the beauty supply stores. And I'm using 6 different colors, but 2 shades of each color. So we're going to do a rainbow palette today with yellow, orange, red, and then of course the lighter shades of those. And then also green, blue, and purple with lighter shades of those. So we're going to have fun with this. I'm going to start with a white dot in the center. I like doing that for some reason. And I'm also going to use, these are tools. This is a tool set from Pittsburgh Transfer Punch Set. These are what the ends of them look like. Obviously some of them have been painted with. They don't clean perfectly well. I guess I haven't taken the time to do that. But it just is a flat ended tool like this. Is totally flat but round. So I'm going to start with a white dot. You can use whatever size you tool. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th smallest tool. I'm going to eyeball the center to what looks like about the center to me. And that's what, it's close to the center of the stone. It's a little bit off, but I'm sure it'll be just fine for our use today. It makes it a little bit more centered. Made the dot a little bit bigger. That way it looks like it's a little bit more in the center, because I was really off on the center in this one. Let's see if I can make it round. I'm just spreading it out a little bit to make it a little bit more round and a little more centered. It's close. It's not perfect. Okay, so let me wipe that off. Next, I'm going to add some yellow dots around the center. We're going to start with the yellow. I'm going to start with the darker yellow, and I'm going to put a dot on one side of that white dot, and then on the other side. And then we're going to go across to the side to side. So we've got opposites going. And we have enough space on this one, I think, to just add 2 more dots in between each of those. And this is my darkest yellow that I'm using today. It's called Bright Yellow. I'm dipping the the dotting tool into the paint each time between adding it to the rock, between touching the stylus to the rock. And what that does is it makes them more even. The size of the dots stay more even that way. So from there, we're going to add the orange. I'm going to go into the orange with a little bit larger dotting tool this time. Let's see which size I used last time. This one's just a little bit bigger. I'm going to take the dark orange and create a dot just in between 2 of those yellow dots, all the way around. It's to the outside, so you're not touching the yellow dots, but it's creating a circular effect by going all the way around the circle. We need some bright rainbow colors today. I think it's just, you can never have too much sunshine and rainbows in your life, so trying to create happy rocks. Although creating the rocks always makes me happy. I love doing this. Dotting is my thing. Okay. So we're going to go from there. The next color in line in the rainbow. So the rainbow colors, primary colors are yellow, blue, and red. And then to create the secondary colors, you mix two of those together to make orange, green, and purple. But the rainbow goes all 6 colors in a row as you would make them. So from yellow to orange, then the next color would be red. So we're going to take the dark red. I'm going to use another one of the tools from the Pittsburgh set. Is the smallest one, and I'm going to take the bright red. It's called actually flag red, I think. Yeah, flag red, and it's an apple barrel color. And I'm going to put a dot of that in between each one of the orange dots and a little bit away from it. So I'm starting with my purest of the colors, not mixed with white. If you only have the bright red and you want to make a bright pink out of it, mix it with white. If you want a lighter orange, mix it with white. That's the way to create a lighter version of your initial color. A couple more red dots. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to go in between those red dots, closer to the orange, with the pink dotting tool in my set is the smallest end I have. So I'm going with that, and I'm going to use the purple. I'm going to go with the dark purple. I'm going to dip it in the small end. And I'm just going to put a small purple dot in between each one of the red dots. This is the darker of the two purples. Okay. We're going to add top dots to this, so I'm trying to not make my dots too big today. They take too long to dry, unless you want to come back the next day and do it, or come back an hour later and do it. It takes a little longer to dry. Okay, so we got the purple in there. Now we're going to go with the blue, but I am going to add a little bit bigger dot, and I'm going to be doing that with this size dotting tool. This is my 4th one from the smallest of the punch sets. And I'm going to take the dark blue, which is called bright blue, the darker of the two blues that I'm using today. And I'm going to put that in line with the red dots that I have done already. Just like that. I'm going to turn it down towards me so I can see it a little bit better, but I hope you can still see it also. So dip it into the blue each time before you press down onto the stone. Try to go straight into the paint and then straight onto the stone with the flat side of your punch set or your pencil eraser or your Q-tip or your nail head or whatever you have found to work with. And one more. Okay. So it's getting very pretty and also very much like a rainbow. So the last, let's see, we've used yellow, orange, red, purple, blue. The last one is green, so I'm going to take the green and I'm going to use the smallest of the punch sets again. And I'm going to put a green dot in between each one of the blue dots. A little bit on the outside of the blue dots and basically in between each one. That noise you're hearing is my little palette. It's not very even on the table, so it makes a little bit of a noise each time I press it down into the paint. Okay, one more to go on this. All right, so now we're going to go back in and add some of the lighter tones to this rock. So we're going to make it real pretty, you'll see. So I have pink, a nice bright pink tone that I use. This one is called Candy Pink, if you can read that. That's an apple barrel color. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to add a dot in between each one of the darker blue dots. And I'm using the other end of my pink stylus pen, and just add one bright pink dot in between each blue dot, kind of above the green, between the green and the purple and the blue. A nice bright pink. Again, you can create a bright pink by adding white to red. If you have white and red and you don't have your own pink, you can add that. This is a fairly dark colored rock that I'm using today. There are many times when I actually paint a rock with a black background to make the colors pop a little bit more, but when the rock is this color, you really don't need to do that because it will pop with the darkness of the background already, naturally, of the stone. So don't need to do that. Okay, so that's the pink dots. And we have the light yellow we're going to want to add in. Show you what we're going to want to do with that. I'm going to take the smallest dotting tool, stylist again, the smallest end, and I'm going to take the light yellow, and I'm going to put a dot on the very end, the outside edge, if there's an edge on a circle on the dot, on the round dot, the green one. I'm going to go around this with the light yellow. I'm going to turn the rock a little bit to get it so I can see it better also, and you can too, I think. Am I still on the screen? Let me move it over for you a little bit. I've been doing dot painting for quite a few years now, but the videotaping is new to me. I've just started doing that recently. Okay, so we're going to walk the little light yellow dots around the green dot. By walking the dots, I'm going to put it right between where the previous yellow dot was placed and the green dot, and go closely next to that dot. 3 dots on either side. So 1, 2, 3. Let me make this one a little bit more even with the other side. There we go. And 1, 2, 3. So hopefully you can see that. I'm going to do that all around. I love that look. And the reason I call it walking the dots is because I'm not replenishing the paint on the end of my tool between placing the next dot. So a little bit less paint falls onto the subsequent dots because the paint tends to slip off naturally off the tool onto the rock. And as I'm not adding enough to make it even, I didn't add enough on that one to start with, it comes out a little bit smaller. I think you can see that. It's a very, with only 3 dots, it's not a huge difference in how much paint is being dropped off onto the stone, but it is just enough to make it fit into that little space nicely. So 1, 2, 3 all around, all of them. This is just a very simple design. This is something for those of you that are stuck at home with nothing to do and you want something fun and easy and relaxing. There's nothing nerve-wracking about this stone. It's a very easy one. So you don't have to use the exact same colors that I've chosen. If you don't have these colors on hand, use whatever colors you have. If you don't have these tools, you can find other tools that you can use. You can use toothpicks, you can use Q-tips, you can use pencils, you can use whatever you can find around the house. Just make sure that if you're using somebody else's tools, you ask first. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So if you're young kids and you don't have your parents' permission, don't use their tools. Okay, so we want to add in the light green, which we have not done yet. What I want to do with the light green is I'm going to take the largest little ball that I have. This is on my green one on my set. And I'm going to use the bright green. And I'm going to put the tool in the dots in the paint and then put 1 dot in between each one of those designs we just made with the little bright yellow dots. It changes every time you add a dot or a different color or a row of colors or some little essence to the design. It changes the look of the whole design. It changes everything when you do that. So when you're painting with dot painting, when you feel like you've done enough and you're happy with the design and you don't want to add any more, don't add any more. If you feel like you need more and it's just not pretty enough for you at this moment, then just keep adding until it becomes pretty enough, because I guarantee you it will change with every time you add another element or another color or another size dot. Your whole picture will change. So that's what we're doing right now. We're showing you how to do that. I would like to add the light orange. I haven't used that one yet. So in between each one of the darker oranges, I'm going to take the smallest little dotting tool I have. Well, in fact, you know what? I'm going to show, this is my smallest dotting tool. You're going to laugh. I actually use toothpicks, even on my real art that I do. I'll show you an example when I just finished yesterday. I haven't put the resin on it yet, but I just finished this one yesterday. So there's so many designs you can do. Anyway, I'm going to take the bright orange and put a little dot of that in between each of the dark orange ones with the toothpick. Just a tiny little dot. It's right next to the yellow, which was the first dots I put around my white dot. And then I'm going to put, I need a little bit more paint on that. The toothpick doesn't always hold it evenly. Just a little dot, a little element in between each one of the orange dots. And this is my smallest dotting tool, is my toothpick, so. I don't know how I always end up with paint all over my hands. It washes right off though if you get it pretty immediately. Within the next hour or so it'll come right off. Actually, it comes off all the time. It comes off all your skin pretty well. Again, please guard your clothing. Don't get it on your clothes. If you do, just try to get that off immediately. Okay, and then also, I believe our orange dots are now dry enough, the first original dark orange dots, and I'm going to take my smallest dotting tool now, and I am going to put that bright orange dot, just a tiny bit of it for a top dot, in on top of each one of my previous orange dots. Just to give it a little brightness. Kind of makes it jump out, come alive a little bit more. I'll put this closer to you guys again. I hope to get better on my videotaping. I am taking an online class. Right now we're still in quarantine basically, or staying home alone kind of situation. So I'm taking some online classes, and hopefully I will improve my videotaping after I've completed my course, which I have not obviously completed yet. Okay, we haven't used the light blue yet. What else have we not used? Haven't used the light purple yet either. So, and the purple's not showing very well because it was such a dark, dark purple on a dark stone. So I think we'll take a little tiny end again on the light purple and put a tiny dot on top of each one of those darker purple dots. Putting a dot on a dot, I call it making top dots, but it just creates a little dimension and it brightens up your original dot. I think you can see those light dots a lot better once I've added each one of those to the purple dot I already had on there. Okay. Now, I want to add the light blue. I want to put that on top of my darker blue dots, which are not dry enough yet. I also want to add some color to some of the other dots that are already done, but they're not quite dry enough yet either. But I'll tell you what we will do. We'll take the light blue, and I'm going to put a dot of that in between this green dot and that blue dot. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take a small little bit of it on my smallest tool. This light blue color is very, very thick, so I'm just going to dip it in once, and then I'm going to put a dot of it in between the dark blue dot and the light green. So just in that area, if you can see that. So one little dot right there in between those other dots. Between the green and the blue. So I'm getting two shades of every color of the rainbow on this little stone. Okay, so that is done. And I think I'd like to add a little bit of the yellow that I already have, the light yellow that I already have, on top of the green dot. So with the smallest dotting tool still, the pink one, I'm going to add one little dot of the light yellow on each of my little green dots around the outside. Can you see the effect? It just makes it highlight just a little bit more. And one more. There we go. Okay. I think that the red dot is probably dry enough to add something on top, and I'm going to take that same tool. This is one of my favorite top dotting tools because it's so small. It's maybe a little bit blurry right now from where you are, but it's a small tool. I'm going to take the hot pink and add a drop of that on each one of the red dots to add another pop of color on that. And then in turn, I'm going to go back into the red and I'm going to put a small dot on top of each one of my pink dots that I already had there in between the little blue. One more dot to go on that one. There we are. Okay, my blue dots are almost dry, not quite. I'm not quite ready to do anything with that one, but what I think I'd like to do is take the lime green, the lighter of the greens, and put a little dot of that on top of each one of my yellow dots. It's in the center. Now, at any point, you could have stopped putting dots on your dots, or you could have stopped putting dots on your rock from the very beginning dots, because these choices that I'm making, this is all up to you. If you want to add top dots or not, it makes the look a little bit different each time you add, like I said, another color. You can see how much it's changed. If you go back and run the video when you're done with different parts of the stone being painted, you can see that it changes with every color I add. The look of the rock changes completely. Okay, now I'm ready to add that same light green onto the dark green dots that I have going around. And I'm going to use the other end of the pink utensil that I'm using. It's a little bit bigger ball. I'll get the lime green going. And I'm going to add a little dot of that on each one of the darker greens. It just brightens it up a little bit. If you have any questions or any suggestions or any comments or even compliments, except those two, you're welcome to write them a little note to me at the bottom of the video, and hopefully I'll be able to get right back to you and answer any of those questions that you might have. If you want to know where I get products, I can give you some advice on where I've gotten mine. None of my videos are subsidized by any companies. Nobody's promoting me or at this time, so I will just be giving you all the answers of where I truly get everything. I'll hope to always be honest with you. Okay, and now I'm going to also use a little bit bigger size, the blue one of my utensils with a little bit larger dotting tool, and I'm going to put the light blue on top of the dark blue. So again, I said my light blue is pretty thick, but I think it'll still work. There it goes, nice and pretty. And I'm thinking that my dark blue underneath is mostly dry, maybe not completely dry, but I think it's best to wait till it's completely dry. But when I'm making a video, I don't always have the patience to wait, and I really don't know how to stop and start the videos yet, so that's why these things are just non-stop mistakes and all. Make that one a little bit bigger. There we go. So this is getting to be a very pretty little mandala. The reason I think that so many people, including myself, love painting mandalas is there's something calming and peaceful about a mandala. That is centering and has to do with circles and just, I think the roundness of the dots, everything. I think it just all works great. Okay, the last thing I want to do on this little stone is take my smallest dotting tool again, which actually I think I'll use the toothpick, and I'm going to go back into the white, and I'm going to create a little bit of a white dot on each one of my orange dots. I just want to get a little more brightness in that area. That was too much. If my paint were completely dry, I could wipe that with a Q-tip and start that one over. It was a little bit much. Two more. And one more. And I think it's complete. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and you want to see more of these mandala stone painting videos, please feel free to like this video with a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to continue to do this until I hear that nobody wants me to do it anymore. So this is your little mandala stone for today. I hope you enjoy it. I will finish it by resining it at the end. That protects it so it can be an outdoor piece of art, but you don't have to do that. I do recommend sealing it with something. You can use any kind of a spray sealer. I have Krylon clear glaze sealer that I sometimes use if I'm not going to resin. So you can just spray that on. You want to do that outdoors only. It's not safe for use inside. You don't want to breathe that in. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video today. Again, this is Debbie from Creekside Art Studio on Lummi Island. Come back anytime. I have an Etsy shop. You're welcome to go visit that to see more of my work. I have plenty of stones that I have finished. I'll show you a couple examples. This is one of the ones I've recently done on a crazy little rectangle stone that I found. And this is one of my scenery stones with mountains and sunshine and clouds. So feel free to come by my store and see the work I do. And thank you again. Bye-bye.